This episode is presented by Minnesota's very own Ticket King. For tickets for an upcoming game or concert, visit TicketKingOnline.com or a quick link from the 1500ESPN.com sports calendar page. TicketKingOnline.com, 612-341-4141.
Peppering the net, defending the blue line, attacking the zone, covering the sport. From preps to pros, this is your one-stop shop for all things pucks. Welcome to the Overtime Hockey Podcast, presented in part by Let's Play Hockey. Now, alongside Dane Mizutani from the Pioneer Press, here's Pete Wagner.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Overtime Hockey Podcast. As the state high school hockey tournament playoffs are underway, the section playoffs full within reach. The section finals almost set for every section. A couple are still playing through some semifinals next week. And we will open up with a celebrity and a superstar. He is the head coach of the Eden Prairie Eagles. And Lee, I got to say, your film debut has been very impressive. Lee Smith from the Eden Prairie Eagles, thanks a lot for joining us here on today's show.
Thanks, Legs, for having me.
I'm telling you, I have to say, I've been watching your programming on FSN's Dream State series, which I've been enjoying very much. And what an infomercial for you and your program. I mean, if you want to have kids see a reason why they should be playing high school hockey, I think that's a really good example with all the great things you're doing.
Well, thanks, Pete. It was an honor for us to be selected in Hockey Day, and then to throw that in has been really nice. You know, it puts a lot of pressure, and you know, you just try to stay humble with everything with our program. We got really good kids and a great community, and there's a lot of people hungry to try to take us out. So we have to be really good every time we show up. And, you know, our kids are pretty strong-willed and tough competitors, and I'm proud of them for this. Could be a huge distraction, but they haven't let it be.
Well, I was going to ask you that. I'm sure, you get into a rhythm and a routine as a team, and with what you expect from the kids and what the kids know is going to happen with you. Is it sometimes like, oh God, there's the cameras again, and like, you know, I think you've done a nice job of not being on stage though with dealing with it, and I think that's rubbing off on your players as well.
Well, we haven't changed a thing. That's the first thing. We're just going to go about our business, and they can pick and choose what they want from what we're doing. And it seems like they're getting some stuff that they like to show. And, you know, we've had to edit a few things that, you know, are a little sketchy or not appropriate for TV, but for the most part, it's been really a positive experience for everyone.
Well, and, you know, the story about your manager, that was just awesome. And I think there's stories like that bear out in every locker room. There's a situation like that. And the one thing that was very human about that was you being very clear that that's like nothing you like to do as a coach ever. And how wonderful that worked itself out. And it seems like a great situation.
Yeah, there's no question. Benny Blanchard, what a great kid. And to tell someone that he can't be on your team is really a hard thing. It rips out your heart, you know, when they're good kids like that. And then, but with that text he sent me and said, can I be part of it? The guys all want me around. It was like a huge relief. And for sure, that was a great segment. Probably one of my favorite segments that I've seen for sure.
Well, that's what really, you know, you and I do a lot of these together, and that's what really made me say, you know what, I want to reach out to you and call you and just kind of, you know, talk about how all of that's working and those kinds of stories. And, you know, I think in high school hockey, we've talked about this a lot, where you almost have to recruit your own players to stay and to be a part of the program. And I think that's something that people don't really understand. I mean, some of it's cost related, some of it's other options, some of it's, you know, whatever. And can you talk on that a little bit about how you've been there since, 91, 92 in that era? I mean, this is going on.
Right.
This is going on forever. You must have been about 10 years old when you got the job, but the fact you like that one. The fact is that it has changed a lot. Where you kind of have to, I don't know, for lack of better terms, protect your brand. Can you talk about how that evolution's occurred and how something like this actually helps?
Well, I think number one, the parents of Eden Prairie can see that we're real. Our coaching staff is real. We have fun with the kids. The kids have created a really good culture in our locker room that it gets handed down year by year, and I think that really speaks to itself in the fact that everyone wants to be part of it, and it's an honor to be part of it. And even when the playoffs started yesterday, I told the sophomores, you better take all this in from the older guys because they're the ones that are training you to be the next leaders of our program. So trying to build that culture of winning and doing it the right way. And you're also right, the fact that you do have to keep your players in town. You know, there's been years where we've lost a player or two, and we've been very fortunate now to keep our players in town, and we have less players, and any kind of a loss now really would affect us. So we can't have that happen. So, you know, I just think the Lettys, the Rouse, Sealers, Molinars, all these great kids that we had in the past have helped lead us to where we are today.
You know, that's an interesting point, too. We're going to get into your game with Prairie Lake here in a second, but you brought up a very good point. And, you know, Nick Letty's just really settled in with the New York Islanders quite nicely after being a member of the Chicago Blackhawks. And then you look at Kyle Rao, who's finding his way in Florida with the Panthers and doing some great things there. And then you mentioned Nick Steeler as well, among others. You've had some really, really high-end players come through. There's been a ton of attention spent to Casey Middlestat. Do you think that he has more attention paid to him than those other guys did?
Yeah, I would say the only one that was close to him was Nick, just because he grew into his body going into his senior year. He was such a great skater, and he could totally control a game back there at the point. And I think that made him very marketable. But I don't think because of his maybe shyness and the way Nick was, that he didn't get the attention. And maybe just that high school hockey is even getting more attention now because of shows like you and things that are on streamed and everything, that it's a bigger product now than it was at that stage, even though it was gigantic then.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think there's no question that Casey's had the most attention on him that I've ever been around. The most scouts along with Nick, and, you know, and Kyle had a different kind of exposure. He had everybody watching him, but it wasn't to be a high draft choice. He was gonna be drafted for sure, but everyone knew he was a warrior, and everyone wanted to figure out if that little warrior could fit into a big locker room. And he's found a way.
Yeah, would there ever be a doubt with that kid? So, but I mean, you know, you can take Hart or the players can. You've been down this road with high-end players like that before, with lots of expectations placed upon them. 3 of them Golden Gophers, 3 of the top ones out of the chute, and I think that's a really important component. Now, when we downshift into the game yesterday against Prairie Lake, you outshoot them by a margin of 11-3 in the first period, and then they come back and have a better second period. Jackson Judding scores a shorty for the 1-0 lead as you go into the locker room. Where were you guys at as a team? I mean, I'm sure you're playing well enough, but I mean, you know, you're 1 bounce away from being down 2. What was the message there?
Well, the first thing that I went in there in the locker room was pretty quiet. I think that they anticipated a little bit easier game, and you can preach all you want.
Totally.
Playoff hockey is a different bird, but we didn't have a first game, so that was our first game, and that's always hard. And we passed up a lot of shots. We missed the net a lot. We were just a little out of sync, you know, and give that credit to Prairie Lake. You know, Joe Pankratz and his staff does a great job. And, you know, we found a way in the third period. I said, you know, we got the best goalie in the section. We got, you know, guys that have had a lot of playoff experience. So whether you play 1 shift or 15, you better be ready for it. You better be great while you have that opportunity, because we don't want to have any regrets. We've lived through this whole thing last year after Wayzata beat us, and I don't want to have anybody crying because we didn't play our hardest. So if we go out because Prairie Lake beats us, all the credit to them. But we better go out there and give it everything we have.
Well, then you go out and you get a goal early. So that message was heard. Jack Jensen scores.
Beautiful goal.
Yeah, 109 in, and that had to change the tone and the feeling on the bench. Did you feel a momentum shift there?
No kidding. The bubble burst. It was game on then, you know, and boys were feeling it, and Casey said, "Play me till I puke," and they were,
Did he really?
yeah.
Nice.
So we tried to, but we didn't get to that stage. But it was a fabulous high school hockey game, clean, high tempo, two good teams, two teams that are always competing to be in the top half of the state every year. And again, Joe Pankratz and his staff, and he's got good players over there, and they had a game plan, and they almost, were able to pull it off. And luckily enough, our guys came and we made some plays when we had to, and our goalie did what we said. He'd stop every shot in the third if we did what we had to in front of him. So,
and he did.
We move on.
So Andrew Irwin picks up the game winner at 7:44 of the third period.
Another great shot.
From the blue line.
He got rid of it so fast I hardly even saw it, but it was a wonderful goal. Great play. You could see it developing, and then for him to, finish it off like that, just outstanding.
Another veteran who's been a part of the program for quite some time. Were you okay, so you mentioned the point that you do get the first round bye because there's only 7 teams in your section in the 2AA. So meanwhile, Prior Lake's playing a game where they're playing a 4-5 game, and they kind of got to earn it with Chaska, right? And then they come in.
Chaska's a good team.
They are.
Team. They had to
come in.
They had to play game on Thursday, so they had to be all dialed in earlier to get that first game out of the way is really good. And the one thing about being old is, there's some guys that I've been able to talk to, like Tom Satterdahl and Willard Eichela, and can't get much better than that, huh? And
no.
Those guys always said they dreaded the first game.
Well, you got over 1,000 wins there.
Two periods into the last night, I'm like, yeah, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you're talking, like I said, over 1,000 wins there. They've won a few. They've probably won more sectional playoff games combined and state tournament games than many coaches have in their career. So that's
no
good stuff to listen to. Yeah, no doubt. So now you move ahead and you take on a Holy Family Catholic Fire team that, I think both you and I agree is a very versed team. They're good on the back end. Their forwards are good. They've got good goaltending. They're well coached, and they've been a team that I think they feel like they've been kind of the forgotten about child in the section. How do the Eagles approach that?
Well, first of all, everything you said about Holy Family is correct. They're really good hockey team. They have fantastic defensemen, a great goaltender. Some high-end forwards. They get around the rink well, and Noel and his staff are doing a really good job with that team. They play hard, and so it's going to be a battle on Wednesday night. We know that, and I think our kids will be excited to play them too. We don't play in the regular season. There's some banner about that, but we kind of just feel like, we'll wait and we'll play when it matters and see how it goes. And we got that opportunity now coming up Wednesday.
Is it fair to say you're going to be practicing at a rink a little bit west of your main rink there at Eden Prairie?
No, to be honest, we used to get on a bus and go practice all over. And then it seemed like more of a distraction. We just kind of keep it in-house and do the things we got to do at our rink. And it's going to be game on Wednesday, and it's.
Oh no! What I was asking is if we're going to practice on the big sheet.
Yeah, no. We just say,
okay.
Oh, we don't even have one anymore. They eliminated that.
Oh, it tells you how often I'm over on that other one.
yeah. But,
okay, so much for that.
They got rid.
Okay,
got rid of it. So, and that's fine. I mean,
yeah.
At the end of the day, playing on a big sheet is. I'll tell you, it's a lot different. It's a lot different playing in front of a full house. That's a different bird. So there's some things that'll be all new for some, for some Eagles, and the entire Fire team it'll be new. I've heard that they're practicing over at Mariucci, last week prior to the tournament, which was acceptable, prior to the tournament beginning. So, maybe they got some familiarity with the rink, but we'll show up and we'll, play hard, and the best team will win.
When you look at these games that play out in Mariucci Arena, I often look at the sheet itself and I say, okay, what's different about this from what I'm watching up top when you guys play in these section finals? First of all, I'm going to tell you, I'm on record, I don't like it. I don't
Right.
think I don't think you guys should be determining section finals there. What I think could happen and should happen, by the way. So I'm not going to say I hate something and then not have a prescription for the solution. Two things. One would be, why wouldn't we just do separate days on Ritter Arena? A great track
Right.
there, or because the NCHC is coming down the pipe pretty quickly here, and I think the ice is in maybe at Target Center. Remember when we did
Right.
those? I mean, I know the ice was not ideal a couple of years ago when we had to be there because of Mariucci, but I will say
Right.
this. That worked out to be a wonderful deal, and you had bigger crowds because it's easier to park there.
Right. Well, I will tell you that if there was a way to make the Target Center ice high quality, I think that would be the best spot for it. But having been there one time and knowing that there was ice all along the edges of the boards, and it was a disaster that time. I'm not saying it couldn't happen again, but it was not a good situation. And maybe they got their cooling system and all that all fixed now, but when we played there, it was not good. Although I would say that Minnetonka loved the ice that night there, so I'm speaking from one's perspective.
I'm sure they did love that ice that night, no doubt. But what I do know is they do have I think they have their store in order because they've done the things they've needed to do for the NCHC. I just think that would just solve that. Nobody plays on a big sheet really in high school hockey, and you're going to decide your section's largest game on that sheet. Now both teams have to play on it. I get that, but when I look down and see the game, it kind of comes down to which team can go east-west a little bit better than the other. You have time to catch up to some of that stuff when they get some room through the neutral zone, but it just seems like because there's so much expansive room, that's issue number one. And then the other issue is, your D-men better not get beaten coming out of that corner because, you're a country mile to that post.
You're exactly right. The angles are the biggest change. And, the way you would approach going after someone, you better be damn sure that you know how to skate if you're going to attack someone really hard, because otherwise they're going to be by you and in on the tender fast. So, yeah, there's some things you got to be careful about. But all in all, it's still hockey. I agree with you. It isn't ideal. Ritter would be great. Target Center would be great. But, until we hear differently, we just got to be able to play on Wednesday over there.
100%. As I said, both teams, in this case, all four teams have to play on that for sure.
Right. Well, and Wayzata has always had the benefit of being on that rink, for all these years. They've had the opportunity to be on the big sheet for 8-10 games during the regular season, and then play on Mariucci, which they understand the way the rink
one of
plays,
few teams.
Yeah. What's that?
I said one of few teams.
Exact.
I gotta throw this at you. I saw them play yesterday against Cretan Durham Hall, and I'm not telling you, man. They looked really good. I mean, it's like if you didn't know records, right, you would say this is a 17-7-1 regular season team, not a 7-7, whatever it was. So from your experience of playing them a couple of times in the conference, surprising that they were looking this good come playoff time? Is this a buy-in situation? What would be your perspective on why? I mean, are you surprised they look that good?
Well, first of all, they have a lot of really good athletes, and I think that it always takes time to put the pieces together, the puzzle, and I think Pat and his staff has done a good job of getting those kids to now buy in and run their roles and do the things you got to do to win hockey games. And some years, just everything goes smoothly, and some years you have injuries or little other things, or you have egos that you have to get guys to check at the door, and it seems like they found their game at the right time of year. So, I give them a lot of credit. I know we played them the last week, and they were a much different team the way they played us that game. And I do believe they have belief in their goalie now, which is a big thing, because they had Schilling there, who was
so
just
good.
he was a monument, in Wayzata hockey history. He's got to be up there on the top of the mountain as one of the best ever. and now they got this guy. So, a lot of what they do at Wayzata revolves around having a goaltender make the first save, and it seems like they have that.
Well, and what else they do too, and so that they're a shell of what they could be. What I saw earlier this year: block shots, take away shooting lanes, get pucks deep, just go grind, chip chase, do whatever they got to do. When they did have possession, the regroup was really good. I'm just telling you right now, I'm going on record here, and I could be totally wrong. That's the beauty of all this stuff, Lee. I think that Edina better bring their A-plus game on Wednesday because that Wayzata team looked pretty damn good to me. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and that's going to be a really good matchup. No matter what, you can throw the records out the door.
Totally.
When our conference games meet anywhere, and so Wayzata is going to play hard. Kurt and Edina Hornets are going to play hard. I think the last one they played was 1-0 Edina. So, they know each other. There's no secrets. So it's going to be whoever wants it worse will come out with that win.
Do you mind going down a couple more just generic high school hockey questions? You're such an authority. This is great stuff.
Yeah,
you
sure.
ready? All right. Elk River lost to what I called was the wild card in the section, Grand Rapids, because they've had all sorts of things. I'd almost say drama going on, up and down, this and that. You played both teams at the Edina Holiday Classic. Elk River falls. Grand Rapids is now taking on Duluth East in the section final in the 7AA. You never count out Mike Randolph's edition, but I mean, is it very possible that a team that many thought was dead in the water could go to the state tournament in Grand Rapids?
Well, you got to remember, when you got talent, you're never dead in the water. You just got to get that talent pulling the rope the same way, and seems like Trent did down the stretch. I think some of the things that they hurt themselves with are penalties and things like that, some discipline stuff, but they have as much or more talent than anyone in the state. So there's no surprise to me. My hat's off to Ben Gustafson and his staff at Elk River for a great season. What a shame that,
yeah, totally.
Well, great. Here's the number one seed. Oh yeah. You're going to have a semifinal against a team that was in the semifinals of the state tournament last year with everybody back, so, he did a great job, and they had a really, really good team, Elk River. And that's the one thing when you get to this stage, after next week, and obviously it's down to 8, but right now the 16 teams left, there's a lot of teams that are capable of winning the state tournament right now.
Is this Jefferson team surprising to you? I mean, they were really good as Bantam AA's 2 years ago. So now the sophomore class, coming in as a number 6 seed, and they take out Eastview, and then they just took out Burnsville, who I picked to win the section. But I mean, don't look now. I mean, is this a year soon for the Jags, you think, or are they for real?
It's just hard to say because we had a night where we were just really good, and they had an off night, and we caught them. But I know that Jeff's going to put the guys in the right spot, and he's going to have a good game plan, and he's going to know St. Thomas Academy. They're an awful good team, too. We played them, and the Vanellis get their kids ready to play, and there's a rhyme and reason to what they're doing. So, I think that game, if you would have said a month ago that was going to be the final, I think everyone would have laughed at you. But coming into Wednesday night or Thursday night, whatever it is, I think people will pay attention now.
Yeah, absolutely they will. And then one last question for you. Have you seen any way, shape, or form or played against the Moorhead Spuds? I think they are unequivocally the team that has been completely screwed by everybody. I think they're a top 10 team, and I felt it all along. They took Holy Family Catholic to the woodshed with a 6-1 win. They're 3-0 against top 10 teams, and I don't think anybody's really paid attention to them.
I watched them play Holy Family, and I will strongly agree with you that they are a really, really good hockey team. They would not be the first team you'd want to meet in the state tournament if that was how the matchups ended up. I can't imagine them not being a seeded team, but like you say, they haven't earned the respect, which is bizarre to me.
Correct.
Through the state, but they're no surprise to me. If I saw that the envelope drew, if we got out of our section and we drew them, I know that man, game on, because they're really good.
That's going to be the toughest first-round game for anybody should Moorhead come through. And, it's just a team that I had to throw out there that I've been keeping a close eye on. I'm like, God, this team is deep, and all of their leaders are juniors. So look out.
Well, you do a pretty good job other than that Burnsville pick, I guess. You seem to really have a good, you know the game and high school hockey, and you can say that I'm a legend or whatever like that. You are, in what you do and what you do for our sport and our kids, and so we owe you the same respect back.
Beyond humbled there, my friend. I have to say that means the world, and I have been absolutely loved working with you over the years. And when you say things, they have meaning, and I really appreciate it. And those feelings are 100% mutual. And as we close out this segment, I have to say I was compelled to text you last night as I was watching the show, and I've seen enough. That I think you are the epitome of a caring coach. You're a guy who's been around the block and back and blah, so forth and so on. There are a million people that say all kinds of different things about everybody out here that coach in this world. Not everybody's going to be happy, but what I can say is every time I'm around your locker room, whenever I talk to your kids, they all have the same demeanor, and you know what it is, Lee? They're having fun. They respect the game. They appreciate the game. They love their coaches, and they respect the other teams. And
right.
I think really that's to have guys like you. It's a crown jewel for what our kids are having. And I tip the cap to everything you do and have done. And so I was completely compelled last night to say, and folks, this is the truth. Lee Smith is a class act, and we are all completely honored to have you be a part of all of this. So. Thank you for everything you do.
And I'm going to just tell you that the one thing I think I do a good job of is surrounding myself with good people. And I want to give credit to Steve Ollinger and Paul Ranheim and Tom Gertis and Joe Krumpetich and Matt Bertram and Josh Slinger, the guys that also are part of our staff. They, I try to get positive people, and, there's enough stuff in the world that's negative that if you can surround yourself by winners and positive people, it makes the job a lot more easy, even when it's, there's some tough choices or tough decisions or tough nights. You can go out and laugh and shake it off and come back and do it again the next day.
Well, the old saying goes, good leaders surround them with good people, and you have done just that. So I can't wait. I'm going to be on the call at Mariucci Arena. We're going to be doing audio of your section final on letsplayhockey.com. I can't wait. It's going to be an absolute blast. Bring it on, baby. That's what I say. It's going to be a great game.
Thank you. And again, I mean everything I say as far as what you do for the sport and high school hockey. We sure appreciate you, and great. It's always great to see you show up at our rink. So can't wait to talk to you again off the record. Here we go.
All right, buddy. We'll talk soon. I'll give you a buzz. Lee Smith, once again, thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you.
That was Lee Smith. He is the head coach of the Eden Prairie Eagles. They are gearing up for a Section's 2AA final against the Holy Family Catholic Fire coming up on Wednesday. You're going to hear all of the play-by-play right here on letsplayhockey.com. And that's going to do it for today's program. For Lee Smith, I'm Pete Wagner. So long, everybody.